Okay, on the cost allocation plan, it said we approved it. I think that we should read acknowledge receipt of.
Yes,
That-
because that's how the
okay.
motion was.
That was
too.
how the motion
Yeah.
was, if I remember.
Okay.
I'll make that change.
Is there any other changes?
I didn't see any other
No.
things that needed to be corrected, and if there is none with that change, I will make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as with the change. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, ambulance board resignation. We had a resignation here, I think is it that pile right there?
Could be.
Right there on top, that letter? Is that it?
No, that's 2080.
That's it.
Right here.
Right here it is. We had a letter for resignation for Dr. Bob Benami from the ambulance county board. He regrets, but with his time it's consuming in retirement, I think he wants to spend more time with family and stuff. And he's asked to be he has given his letter of resignation here. And he also has put in a recommendation that Tanya Jacobson Benami, which is a nurse at Manning Regional Health Center and is also involved with the Manning Fire and Rescue, to be appointed in his place. First of all, I think we need to do is accept this letter. You normally send him a letter back in, Courtney, that we accepted it or not?
Not usually.
Okay. Well, I'd make a motion that we accept this letter of resignation with regrets and thank you for his years of service. So
I'll second that
Yeah.
motion.
it's been moved and second to accept the resignation. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary, motion carried. Next, do we want to use this suggestion for appointment, you think? Any quorums about that?
Does that have to be an agenda item?
It wouldn't hurt
Let's put that on the agenda for next week.
Is that on our board or their board?
to make an appointment.
I don't know.
Okay. You want
Just
to
do
put it
that.
on next month?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
week. Then we better not lose this
And
year.
if somebody has a different idea on somebody else, they should address that before
Exactly.
the next meeting. But I appreciate him offering a.
Yeah.
Find
replace-
someone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's appreciated.
Okay. Next on the agenda is approval of plat. And from what I can see, it looks like they're just taking off, I think it's 10 acres, if I remember right.
I believe it's a boundary. There's a, yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. It's at south 10 acres, but they're determining the boundary between these two properties is what they're doing. There's really not a fence there, so that's how I understand it.
That's how I understand.
Yeah, that's how I understood
Oh,
it
to
too.
just determine the boundary?
Yeah.
Yeah, these lots were already established. They're just,
So
they're
I
doing
guess
the
I've got
south
it.
line of lot one.
They're determining the south line, and I think it was all farmed together, so they're apparently determining the actual boundary there. But I'll move to approve the plat, there's no issue.
And I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the plat. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary, motion carried. And while we're on that subject, Courtney, he said he didn't think he gets it, but doesn't that come as a
What did it come-
PP something?
I'm not sure how you guys
Would
get it.
would it be underneath, would you have sent it been underneath
No.
your heading? It would
No,
have come
it
from?
comes from, is it PVE survey?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
PB survey.
I bet junk mail snagged it or something. 'cause I-
Yeah, if you did, let me know and I can let Carl know, because he's the one in charge.
Okay,
of
very
getting
good.
the users.
And he may
Very good.
not have him on there yet.
That could be, it could be.
Okay.
He's usually pretty good about
Oh,
that.
you didn't get it, I could,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so we'll follow up on that.
Yeah, if you want to check and just let me know.
I'll check.
Okay.
Okay, next thing we have is the North Raccoon River Watershed 2080 agreement.
Yeah, we've discussed this, and I believe this is actually the one that John looked over and
Yes.
gave his blessing on.
That's correct.
Yep.
The only thing that I see in here that is required of us is, I can find out where that's at. Would be a representative from this board. Trying to find out where that's actually at, where it says that. Yeah, maybe I got it highlighted here. Yeah, I do. It's be on the second page, under governance. Board shall be comprised of one appointee from each county, city, district participating in this agreement. The board shall meet at least once a calendar year. And I would agree to do that if
And I could certainly do it too.
If it's
Because
okay with the
mine's kinda
board.
light, but if Dean would like to do it, I think I'd be.
I've been kind of involved with those.
With the other ones.
WMAs. and-
Yep.
And I would,
It really fits your wheelhouse, so if you don't mind doing it. Is it
Is that
you do
okay
it?
with you?
Yeah,
Neil?
that's good. I know
Yep.
Dean and I go on the meetings, and
I
Dean's
say if
very
you do,
involved. I
I'll-
think he'd be an
I'll jump
excellent
into it if you don't
appointee
mind.
for that.
Okay.
And you've been involved in the other one, right?
Yeah, and if Dean can't make it to meeting or something, I'd be glad to pinch it for
There
you
you go.
sometime.
So
you
do
know,
I too.
Whatever.
and we can go together too, as far as
Yep.
that's concerned.
The next meeting is March 28th.
Yeah, you know what? You gotta go.
Oh, really?
And I'll cover that with my committee meeting.
Okay, very good.
So,
Okay, the issue is the 2080 agreement. Do we want to, is there a motion to accept the 2080 agreement? And
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
it's been moved and second to authorize accept the 2080 agreement with North Raccoon Watershed Management Coalition. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary? Motion carried.
I assume that motion gives you, as the chairperson, the authority to sign this and send it
Yeah,
back.
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have another one come up here with Commissioner Bott as well.
You want to make a motion to name him on the?
Yeah, well, let's vote. We didn't vote on this yet
Oh,
first.
sorry, I got distracted.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion
I
carried.
think we did vote on it twice.
Okay,
You want to
now,
sign that then?
uh,
Have
we-
him sign it, I mean.
with this 2080 agreement, Dean has graciously volunteered to accept the position as being a representative for Carroll County. Is there a to that, to accept that? Also move.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to have Dean Shetler set on that 2080 agreement board. Any further discussion? If not,
Thanks, Dean, for
You bet.
stepping
Yeah.
forward to do that.
Sure.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried.
Neil, I'd go with you to that first one too.
Okay.
Holy cow, I think we
20
better slow down here.
28th. You said, Neil?
The 28th.
It's Tuesday, March
I've got
28th
it
at
right.
9 a.m. in Lake
Okay.
City.
Yeah, I've got it right here.
Very good.
Is Gene coming?
No, I'll do
Four
this.
million in that, so I might wanna.
Next we have is the treasurer's semi-annual report.
But I do wanna go, just to see what's going
Okay,
on.
so this is the treasurer's semi-annual report.
See if there'd be
We will
something
have the
that might
board
fit me.
present to the board before we publish it. So this is for the period July 1, 16 through December 31st of 16. Let's see here. On page 2, it actually has totals, so you can see total revenues for that period, $27,918,278.89. Expenses, $27,153,668.30. So, when she sends this to me, I take it and I look at the reports I do on a monthly basis, and I run a total for the same period to make sure my numbers match Jean's numbers, and they match perfectly, so we just need to have this approved so we can publish it.
I visited with Jean about this report this morning. She said there's nothing unique or unusual about it. I asked her if there's anything interesting about it. She says, no, it's gonna get interesting when we have the DOT figures on here too, with the driver's licenses.
Yeah.
But she said, just what Courtney did, everything matched up.
Okay.
I will move to approve the treasurer's semi-annual report.
I would second that.
Been moved and second to approve the treasurer's semi-annual report. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary, motion carried.
Can I get a stamp on this?
Oh. But that thing ain't
I bet it's
changed.
not
Probably
either.
not changed.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, there might be something interesting coming down the pipeline there that I'm sure they've got program projects already. I assume they do.
21st, ain't it?
What's that now?
I say they might have some projects that I might be interested
Oh.
in, maybe somewhere down the stretch.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they've got some right out of the chute they wouldn't be getting going.
It's right there in front of you, the
Oh.
white, yellow sticky.
Yeah, I'm
Park,
assuming
park,
so,
park.
so.
Yeah, I'll kind of cover that in my committee meetings too. You bet.
Okay. Dave's not here, so we'll go down to manure management. We have a manure management plan for Bladen Pork.
You see that pink flag there? That kind of explains what they're doing, because it isn't really, it's a construction permit, but it's kind of a special one.
They're basically gonna add pigs.
Yeah, I have it,
And,
but it doesn't require a master
Just, but
feature.
there says here, we are not building a new barn, but merely changing pins inside the barn to go from 3,600 to 4,000 head. So none of the above, therefore the master matrix evaluation is not required.
Had those
Okay.
before.
Okay, committee reports. Who wants to start? Rich?
Yeah, I'll go first, and mine's pretty light, actually. Monday night, we had daycare, and they're having some issues. They want to do a sign on the east side of their building, and that's pretty much all they're covering that. Now, they also are still having a lot of problems with their play area. There's so much water problems, and they're kind of looking maybe to eventually maybe try to do some turf, but I think they're finding out it's awfully expensive, and they're really reluctant to take too many steps forward there, so they're just kind of bouncing along. They did receive a grant. It was a one-time grant. I think it was like $12,000 to $15,000. I don't remember exact number.
Weren't they considering going to like some used turf?
Yeah, I think they were trying to see if they could find something that was used or whatever they could find. So that's where that's kind of sitting around in the ballpark right now. I don't think they're going to jump on it right away because it is awful big expense, and they're trying to make sure they have everything lined up first. And then Wednesday night, we had the assessor meeting, and then I had nothing else this week. There's nothing coming up. So I actually had a pretty light week last week and a pretty light one this week.
Okay, Dean?
Okay, we had the Conservation Board meeting on Monday night. There wasn't a very big meeting, but they discussed a lot of good things, I thought. The first thing is, I'll hand this around, it's the Houlihan access to the Sauk Rail Trail, and Dr. Frank Gredman wants to put a shelter up, and here's basically the design. It's going to be completely paid for by donations. And on the back page, you'll see exactly where it's at. It's right by Drees's, Drees Company's building there, and they plan to run water to it. They plan to do all the plumbing. I mean, everything is donated.
Does it have a restroom or toilet in
It's
the-
gonna have, yeah, you'll see in there, it's got
Great.
two restrooms, men's and ladies, and it's gonna be a pretty neat little deal, so.
I was aware of the fact that Dries has offered to do the plumbing, which is very generous to them, but I didn't understand that the rest of it was being contributed to. So
Yes.
That's very good.
It's like kind of a flood area, Dean.
I think it's up high enough now. I
It-
mean, it's possible, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was low, they brought in some dirt
Okay.
and raised it up there.
I just remember there was a water over the road issue there one time, but that was quite a few years ago.
1993.
Yeah. Well, there's water over a lot of roads in '93.
Yeah,
And
it's-
and crops,
Yeah,
that's
and
why
it
I
could
remember.
happen, it could happen again.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you know, so I mean, it's not that it's out of the woods, but.
Okay.
The next thing we had on the agenda was the trail paving project, and this would be, this is paving the intersections on Sauk Rail Trail. We had this discussion once before, and and they think, Jason's thinks he can get a grant to cover this. Greene County's doing this now, and it's costing them between $20,000 and $22,000 to do. Secondary Roads is gonna assist in this, and we think we can get the cost, they can get the cost down to about half that, so. Anyway, I think Dave is, we can ask Dave about it too today, but I think they intend to do that this spring, so.
Do they use asphalt or cement or?
Cement.
Cement, good, good.
Yep. So it'll be a nice deal. The next thing is Riverside Trail discussion. This will be down in Coon Rapids. Rich, you're probably more familiar with where this trail is, and I've got a city, basically a Google Maps. I can't really tell you where it's at, but I think they're going with their going to their city council and trying to get some cost sharing on that. It's just very preliminary stuff, and it's they wanted some numbers, so they just basically took the costs off of the paving around Swan Lake and used those numbers. And I think there's 2 miles there that are critical, that are really pretty bad. They would like to address those. I think the total trail is 3.3 miles.
3.3, you're right.
And so that's really in the
Oh,
preliminary
this-
stages. I'm not
This
exactly.
is existing
Ex-
trail?
Existing trail, and a
Yeah.
lot of that was done with hot mix, and it was done okay. It's showing its age, you know,
Yeah.
the time and freeze thaw cycles were.
I've been over it once.
This is newer down through here, but it's basically from, probably where you see where the golf course is. It's everything kind of back to the north of that. That was the original part of the trail, and then this other one was added later when Conservancy got going, they made an attachment to it.
So I think it's just the 2 miles that are bad shape is what they're looking at. So.
Starts by the Galloway Bridge, where
That was really pretty much the meeting. There was some other detail. Ben Gradeville came, and they want to increase the disc golf course out at Swan Lake. I think it's 9 holes now. There's some discussion on making improvements to that. But otherwise, I think that pretty much covers the Conservation Board meeting. Then on the 15th, there was the Conference Board meeting, and I thought that went very well. Everybody was in agreement on where we were headed there, and so I think that was a good thing. WMA discussion, Lake City. Let's see, where was that at? That's gonna be on the, on the 28th, like Neil said, and they're coming over from the Iowa Flood Center to host the meetings just like they have in the past. And then on the next day, on the 29th, they're going to be in Oakland for the Nishnabanda River Watershed meeting there. And we had discussed this earlier about maybe the county getting involved in participating in a roundtable discussion, or doing the city-county roundtable with Region 12. And unless anybody has a suggestion, I've got a suggestion that would work and that we're pursuing, and that would be have Larry and Neil knows him, Larry Weber from the the Iowa Flood Center. He was basically the host
Oh,
at the
yeah,
one
okay.
here.
I know what
He
you're
was the
talking about.
host at the one down
Yep.
in the east and west Nishnabotna River. He's a very interesting individual, knows a lot about flooding. He can explain a lot about what qualifies for funding through these WMAs. And I won't expand on it too much because I think this is a good thing. He agreed to come down on the 28th that evening and come out to the Ed Center, and then we could host him as the county portion of this. And then the thing that I liked about it, when Dawn, Roy, and I went down to the East Nishnabotna one in Oakland, after the meeting, we talked to him, and he was very open. We had a very open discussion about the politics of a lot of this. The legislation, he's very active in the legislation, you know, as far as water quality is concerned, and the issues that are involved in this. So I thought it would be, I invited him if it's okay with the board.
So you're saying we'd host the county roundtable and out at the Ed Center, you think?
Out at the Ed Center. And then I let Chris Whitaker kind of in on it, and if he would let, then, after that, normally what we do is like, say for Twain, in Breda, we went to Twain's, then we went to the golf course for a meal and our meeting. Same way with Coon Rapids and Manning and, the fire departments, then we went someplace else for
Well,
the
you
meeting.
better could have something catered out there too.
Well, you can, but it's a little bit more complicated that way. But, whatever you
Okay.
guys decide, I mean, we can just as well go somewhere else as we did there,
Oh, and
And
then
not the other
continue
ones.
meeting on somewhere else, you mean?
Yeah, we could go meet down here in 529 Club for the roundtable meeting, and then upstairs probably. That way we don't have to be any more involved in it than when we are. I guess that's kind of what I'm saying.
And what's the
Unless-
date on that?
That would be the evening of the 28th
March.
March. Yeah.
And that guy's name again?
His name is Larry Weber. And I'm guessing it'll probably be more people involved. There'll probably be more people coming to this, simply because I think there's 3 or 4 actually travel with this. So and I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna go ahead and it's good that Dave's here too to hear this, but I'm gonna try to get him to focus on things that pertain actually to Carroll County. The hydrology of Carroll County, where the 1,000-year floods are, where the 500-year floods are, that
So
type
how
of
much
thing.
time do you think you'd take?
Oh, maybe an hour.
I was gonna say, I wouldn't want to get too long, so you get people.
The guy can talk for a long time, I think.
Yeah, but I think if you rein him in.
You need to let him know for
Yeah,
time.
yeah. So.
I'm okay with it. I'm gonna,
Yeah, if everyone's okay with
Well,
that.
I'm gonna leave it up to the chairperson, I think
Yeah.
on things like this, the chairperson should be, make the final call. If it's okay with
Should
Eugene,
say
it's
up
okay
there
with
who
me.
it is on the screen.
Earn Tech?
I would answer it, so it's like a telemarketer.
But anyway, unless somebody else has an idea how we want to participate in the roundtable.
No, I
You know.
think it's time that we do it. I was thinking this the other day, and I think that's an excellent idea. Because we don't really have any place to, and being you guys' subject, we can replace that instead of taking them out and doing a tour or something, and I don't know if we can take a tour.
And I think it's good information for all people involved, and I would probably invite the soil and water conservation people to come and attend. So, there's only one problem. I'm gonna be out of town on the 20th.
Yeah, because you're already gonna be here that morning, I know.
You already skipped out in the mornings. I assumed you were gonna be gone at night too.
Well, I didn't skip out in the morning, did I?
Well, no other meeting.
Well,
but
that's not a problem.
That's no big
No,
deal.
I'll have it all set up, and Chris Whitaker's gonna take care of most of it anyway.
Well, usually
so.
Chris takes care of it.
Yeah.
What time would this start?
I think we're talking around between 5 and 5:30. I would say 5:30 probably.
I have a RSVP, and usually he's over by 5, so 5:30 would be ideal for me if that is okay.
Yeah, you don't want to get it too early, or you can't get the people from other communities to come.
Right.
I would say probably 5:30 yours, maybe more 6.
Okay.
But then if he talks an hour, that's 7 o'clock for heat too, that might be,
Let's put it at 5:30.
yeah.
And, you know, I think he's gonna be there, I think the meeting in Lake City is over at 3, and so he plans to be here at 4, so, if there's some people want to come early and, visit with the guy, I think he'll be more than happy to
I would
do
say
that.
put a time limit on his talk though. So
Yeah.
we don't sit there for a couple hours.
Right. Yeah, and I'll have him hit the highlights. And one thing that I am gonna have him talk about is the structures that a lot of them use for these WMAs for flood control. They've done this on the Turkey River, and I saw some good slides at the ISAC meeting 2 years ago down in Des Moines, how they use county roads to basically use a dam. It's and it would be a county road that gets flooded a lot. You get 3 inches of rain, there's water over the road. You get 8 inches of rain, then it takes the road out, that type of thing. And they talk about bringing the road up a little bit, hold the water back, and then slowly releasing it. Of course, you have to have a lot of partners in a situation like that, the farmer included. So, but I mean, I thought that would be a good discussion where the county would actually get involved in it. So, if that's okay, I'll go ahead with those plans, Gene.
Go ahead.
Okay. Soil and there's and I didn't think I could make this either, but there's the Soil and Water Conservation Banquet is Wednesday, it's tomorrow night. Had to have an RSVP in, so if you were gonna go to that. And the Greene County Public Health. I got an email from Gene on this, and it's very interesting. It's gotta be here somewhere. Greene County is having some issues. They're set up similar to we are with their public health setup with the Greene County Medical Center. And I do believe that's a unity point, but it's also a critical care center. Their CEO, Carroll, I won't mention the name, presented to the Board of Supervisors the proposed budget asking for an increase of from the $150,000 county allocation this year to $275,000 FY 2018, $437,000 FY 19, $614,000 FY 20. The increased allocation would transition the actual cost of public health from the medical center to the county. Total cost for FY 18 is projected to be $926,000. Cost after revenue is projected at $550,000. Cost after revenue is projected to increase to $614,000 by 2020. Yeah, looked to me like Greene County Medical Center doesn't want to do it anymore.
That's cost prohibitive.
What's that?
Cost prohibitive at that.
Yes, it becomes cost prohibitive. So, we've had these discussions about our Board of Health, and we'll just see what happens in Greene County, because I'm assuming that they're gonna have to go another direction.
Okay, anything else, Dean?
Mimi Pudens will take the planning and zoning, so if you wanna put that on the agenda as well.
Good.
That's it.
Okay.
This week, oh geez, what do I have this week? I think this is another situation that I have. I actually have got Region 5 hazmat tomorrow morning, and then I'm gonna be gone on Thursday. I have to be out of town, and EMA and 911 are meeting to approve they have their public hearing on Thursday evening. If anyone could cover that for me, I'd appreciate it.
What day, Thursday?
Thursday night.
I can do that.
7 o'clock.
I was gonna say I would, but I've got
I gotta do
two
it.
meetings Thursday night too.
And I think, and I talked to Jason, I think the other thing that's on the agenda is that the state wants to move, they have a trailer sitting down Des Moines that's supposed to be in western Iowa for emergency management. And it's supposed to have completely set up with radios and in case there's an emergency. They just need a place inside to be able to park it. Some discussion on what vehicle is going to be pulling that, you know. So there may be some discussion about that.
Okay,
So,
this is 7 o'clock Thursday night?
Yeah.
Here?
be downstairs.
Down in that,
Yeah.
okay.
But otherwise, I think the main thing is the public hearing for the budgets for the EMA and for 911. They've been approved. I think there's very slight increases in both their budgets, but otherwise. And that's my week. I will not be able to attend the legislative forum. I think that's out at Swan Lake.
Yes.
This Saturday, so.
Okay.
Okay. Monday evening, of course, with many of you attended the city council meeting, and I was pleased that so many of us were there.
That's right.
It went very well. And the next step is, I believe, March 8th, when the city planning and zoning meets, because they meet on that's their regular meeting date. I have no idea what time that meeting is. I believe they usually meet in the evenings, but I think March 8th is that meeting.
Well, Courtney, Neil, will they send you agenda on that?
I get the city council agenda.
But on their board of, zoning board?
I don't believe that those, I only get the council minutes.
I looked on their website, and that's their next scheduled meeting date is March 8th, but they did not tell me, give a time. And they would be meeting where the city council meets, the way it looks, so.
Most of us won't be around, I guess. We have ISAC,
Yeah.
starts on the 8th.
That is a
What date is
Tuesday.
it?
I believe I
First
will
week?
be there here.
8th, 9th, 10th is the legislative day, but unless somebody's not gonna go the first day.
I may be here, so it'd be
Okay.
nice if somebody was at that meeting from our board. So
Yeah.
I'll find out what time it is and try to make it work.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Wednesday had the Carroll Coalition Human Services meeting. Morgan Stoddard was there, and she conveyed basically what Justin said. In addition to what he said, and I may have missed this, is also AmeriHealth Caritas is also going to be lowering their rates. So any case management people, if they don't take, they'll be getting lower payments for. I mentioned the group about our tentative sale of Mallard View and the idea of having a dementia center out there. They were very happy to hear that. The program was by Domingo Pedro, who's a migrant seasonal farm worker employment specialist, and he explained to us what the situation was on there, because Iowa Works was the program, and Casey Lee was there, but she brought Domingo Pedro along, and he did most of the program. One thing I think that's neat that Iowa Works is doing and is trying to place businesses with jobs. So like next Monday, the 27th, they're having a meet and greet at the Iowa Works location on North Carroll Street. And so Hawkeye Care Center, American Home Shield, Iowa Spray Foam are going to be there. So great place for people looking for employment. And then they're going to have another one on March 13th for the Howard Center, which is actually in Sac County. The Carrollton Inn and Smithfield here are going to be there, and I think they have a third one planned after that, where they're trying to match, people come and just employers and potential employees and talk to each other. So that's a real good thing they got going on. Of course, Wednesday evening, we had the conference board, and since we were all there, I don't believe I need to give much report on that. Jean was our chairperson. That went very well. Thursday had the CPC, Community Partnership for Protection of Children. We had the coordinators report. This is the 30th year that this organization's been around, although not that long in Carroll County. Molly Scott explained that they're going to bring the Paper Tigers. It's a movie that they've done in other counties. She's done it in Sac and Crawford. I think it's March 22nd. It's going to be here in the Carroll Theaters. And it's a movie that they're inviting teachers and child care people to. And it basically is originating on like some kid getting in trouble and what happens between the teacher takes them under their wing and says, hey, we're gonna help you, versus you're out of school type thing, so.
Instead of
It's
toughing
a,
them.
quite the thing. And we had our second quarter.
Instead of toughing them.
It's tough love, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then we had our second quarter reports, and CASA was there, and they're going to offer a program to all the schools to help protect kids from different types of abuse. So, featured for the children. Just a few other things I picked up. One is about the Cadillac tax, and this is on the national level, but I don't read a lot of our NACO news in detail, but NACO is strongly supporting the repeal of the Cadillac tax, and they are joining in with a whole host of other organizations to repeal that. The way things are lining up, I'm confident they'll probably get it done.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that we've been very concerned about, and I think it's going to go away. The Iowa legislature, there are two things that caught my eye on that. First of all, and Gene is well aware of this, the House passed 98-0, and it sent to the Senate the bill that would allow Carroll and Clay County to have driver's licenses. And the other one, which is really great news, is last Thursday, the House and the Senate had companion bills sponsored by 15 Democrat representatives and another one sponsored by a Republican. They're basically identical, and it deals with that mental health cap with the 4728 and the 1996 cap, that they're going to do away with that and let counties do as they please. So that was really good news. I hope that bill gets traction and goes. And then finally, a Des Moines Register article about the Medicaid shift went on and on about all the different things. But the only thing in here that disturbed me was their explanation. Well, they explained that the part that affects us that would shift many Iowa Medicaid clients to case managers hired by the company. AmeriHealth claimed the shift was necessary because the independent case managers weren't providing adequate oversight of care for their clients, and that is a very untrue statement. They have had absolutely phenomenal responses from both the providers and the case managers. Some of these reports are practically flawless, and I guarantee you that they meet with these clients more often than AmeriHealth ever will. So
Is that way in Carroll County anyway?
In Carroll County, and maybe there's some issues in other parts of the state, but for Carroll County, we have a crew here we should be proud of. And the only things coming up, I think this is all handled, but on February 21st or 23rd, they're going to have a hearing on the Green Lake deal. I think we got that covered. A couple of us are going to be there. I wasn't. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think Marty said he's gonna be there.
Marty was planning on be there, I know. They wanted.
When was that?
Today?
The letter I got said it was the evening of this evening or the 23rd, and I never got a final notice from Carl.
Oh, and I remember I wasn't gonna be there, because I've got meetings scheduled tonight too.
So, but is Marty gonna be back for that?
No, he won't be then.
Is that tonight? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Well, in the letter sent February 7th, from Carl, it said it would be the 21st or the 23rd, and he's trying to pull his board and see when they could be there for the Board of Adjustment.
You could call and ask him when it is.
Well, we should know when that is, because
Why don't we
I
do that,
think,
we'll do that on the end, just remind me.
let's do that after the meeting, so. Anyhow, those were the things that came up. And then this week, I got radio and newspaper, and Wednesday I have a Rolling Hills meeting, and a couple things of interest there. First of all, I asked to be added to the agenda, and Dawn thought it was a good idea to talk about a per capita contribution discussion is what it's going to be about. And yeah, we've already done our budget, and we know what we're going to levy, but I don't think Rolling Hills needs to ask for that much, because we have just a huge reserves on balance there. And I'm saying, why are we even asking for like $32 per capita when we're gonna have like a 90% carryover. I mean, that's way much.
Yep.
So that's one thing. And the other thing that's gonna be a really interesting conversation there is, due to the issue with getting payments from some of the MCOs have been delayed, some of the contracts that Plains is having with us are not cash flowing very well. Basically, they're saying there's some significant issues with Medicaid Enterprise, IME, and managed care organizations that prevented us from receiving payment enrollment rules to capture their initial investment until the work is done. So they want more money, and quite a session of emails going back and forth, most of them saying, hey, you're eventually gonna get the money. I don't think we should, all kinds. Personnel says, no, we definitely shouldn't pay it. The state will just say, thanks for taking care of the issue. This is actually a state issue. And so I'm against financial help outside of previously budget revenue, setting a precedent. Seems like it comes back to bite us. That was from Cecil in Crawford County. And someone else also said we do need to find a solution, or some of these smaller entities are gonna go broke. So it's a problem, and that's what we're gonna talk about. Should we give them additional funding or not? And what else is on our agenda? So anyhow, this meeting is gonna be on Wednesday, and I just see on the
Goes on and on.
on the
Never stops.
other items, funding requests. So most of our agenda is gonna be covered with funding requests, both new and additional from different entities, and that also comes with having a good reserve, I guess.
Good luck with that.
Thank you, I'll need it. And then Saturday, of course, is our legislative forum. It's 10 a.m. at Swan Lake Conservation Education and Cultural Center. That will be my week.
Okay. I'll try to get mine here done. We'll do them all. Last week was again, as was at the city council meeting, and I agree with Neil. I'm glad that we had as many there as there. Last week, Tuesday, we had CADC, and they had basically went around and had, wait, I'm on the wrong week here. And then Wednesday night was conference board. I did not have CADC last week. And we went over that. And then Friday was up at Cherokee, the center, the juvenile detention center. Things are going good there. They had workman's comp in. They got a low-risk facility rating on that. Licenses due in, and also the fire marshal. We don't think there's going to be any issues there. Our averages for the month was 12 to 13 kids. On Friday when we were there, at 11. They did have to look for a replacement for a full-time staff. One that was here is going to move back to his hometown of Kansas City. And we had damage to a control room again. Had a kid in there and basically tore the thing completely apart, even crawled the walls. Now, I don't know how you can crawl the walls, but he crawled the walls. They seen him do it. They said they wish they had a video, but they can't video when they're in there. But anyway, he tore the whole thing completely apart. It was a native Indian, 16 years old, and he's a kid that's not out in the public much. When he's not in some institution, he's back in the woods. So that's very native Indian. So we're looking at probably doing something there, and I kind of suggest that with the jail tours that we've seen, the one with the coating put on there, and I suggested look into that. So financially, we were doing very good for the year. We're at $89,000 to the profit. So things are going good up there, except for, and the Native Indian contract has exceeded its maximum again, so we're getting another new contract and raising the limit higher. So they have been regardless of what this one tore the place apart, they have been a very good deal for
The center.
Center. One other thing, I will make a note here. I was aware that Crawford County did also sign with Eldora. And that was a split vote, and I know that was a very contentious thing over there, but some people thought they were going to save money, and I don't know how they're going to save money. because they tell me their JCO said he ain't gonna send them there. So, all they did is sign for some liability, as far as I'm concerned.
I have a question with the Yes Center. Every year, the Yes Center gets a pretty important state
Allocation.
allocation. And how is that going with the amount? Because the state is really tightening down their screws on money.
So far, it's not been too bad.
And the equity, as far as you getting your fair share.
We've watched that very close.
Okay.
So, that one time when that equity was way off.
Yes.
And, that was stated in an audit. And actually, the audit slapped DHS fingers, and DHS never did anything about it because I think they had enough other issues going at the time, they didn't want any more publication. That has not went away. They are constantly reminded of that, so.
So the equity issue is something that you need
The
to keep
equity,
an eye on.
we keep an eye on it. Our director and other directors are very much being a watchdog on that.
Appreciate that, Chief.
Yeah, because, there was someone doing their expansion at our expense. And then the only thing, I also got a letter here from Iowa Department of Revenue that was laying here. It's in regard to Cindy Houghton's progress as far as the assessor. And it just says that she's doing very well, she's on track, and is working very well, and is doing a good job managing her jobs. And I'll pass it on if you want to look at that. This week, I have Policy Council tonight, and I have CDAC at noon. And then Thursday, I have Access Washington meeting, and then at 3, in the evening, I have a New Opportunities Annual Meeting, and then after that, we'll have our board meeting. And then Saturday is a legislative forum. I will not be there because I have to pull daddy duty and move a kid, so. All right, next, Dave, because we got all this other stuff out of the way.
Morning, Dave.
Morning, everyone. Wow, you guys are busy.
Busy waiting for you. Glad to hear it.
This way you got to hear what we do once in a while.
Good. Jason's here. Thought maybe we'd talk a little bit about the trail proposal that he's made out on 170th Street. Do you guys?
I just
have a
passed that
copy of
around,
this?
yeah.
And you all know where it is? north
Old
of-
news.
Old news.
Yeah, I didn't say where it was.
It looked what it looked like, that crossing, because they've
Yeah.
had a bike out there a couple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, it's 170th Street, that one is on quite a skew north of Maple
Let
River.
me see that picture.
I kind of figured that's where it was at.
Yeah, I knew it's by Maple River, but they moved that river.
Jason has found some money, and he would need our help to get in there and do the roadway, the end of it. And if you're willing, we're willing to help him and his crew put the crossing in. That would be kind of in-kind funds from our part. What have you found, around $10,000 or $12,000?
I've got 10,000 yet.
And it looks like that will buy the material to do it. Between his crew and our crew, we wind up pouring the concrete to do the crossing. Crossing is relatively long, if we do it according to a SUDAS spec, which requires 20 feet either side of the trail crossing. The diagram is a little bit confusing, but if you look at the upper part of it, and that being on such a skew, it would require this piece of pavement to be 105, 110 feet long, which kind of runs the cost up. It's better than doing a skewed pad in there, which would be paying for us to maintain down the line.
So you're wanting our blessing.
Can I ask a question before you
Sure.
jump to?
No, that was,
When,
that was.
been around, subject to approval, when would you plan on doing this?
Sometime this summer,
So,
yeah.
how long would you have to close the road or whatever?
Or, I suppose if we'd you know, let it set up and whatnot, probably maybe 5 days.
Well,
How much farm traffic do you have through there?
Quite a bit. That 170 street is pretty busy. Jason figured 9 inches thick. I think you were even thinking about some rebar in there, weren't you?
I put it in there just in case.
If we were doing a new concrete road, we'd make it 8 inches thick, so 9 is probably, you know, a good close figure. It's a good estimate figure anyway.
Who's gonna have the
Might not wanna do it when
maintenance of
spring
the?
planning's going on.
Who's gonna have the maintenance of that gravel as far as keeping the gravel off the concrete? Is that gonna be a conservation thing, or is that gonna be a county thing?
I think that's kind of gonna be a joint thing. Hopefully, we would do our best not to drag a whole lot up
Right.
there.
But it's gonna get up
but
there just from tires.
It does get up there, and I think that's gonna be yours, is
Yeah.
that
We got some type
That's kind
of
of the
brush
point of going at
system.
least 20 feet off.
Throw some of the
That
rocks
gives you
out before they
20 feet
get
of
there.
roll from the onto the concrete to keep it actually off where the trail goes through.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll maintain,
Okay.
you know, if it happens, get on the trail surface.
Yeah,
That'll be on.
eventually it'll have to get, but hopefully
Yeah,
we'll
from
keep
time
it
to
back for a
time.
long period of time, hopefully. Okay.
That kind of stuff will be on.
Okay.
we went and looked at some, was that last fall, I
Last
guess?
fall,
We
yeah.
went over to Green County and looked at some, and I guess they're starting to do these. I figured it would come.
No.
Little piece at a time here.
Do you have any issues with it?
Oh,
Did you guys see that?
What?
not really.
Yeah.
I think it probably will make it a little bit safer for the bikers. Now that I've got a bike, I've got a different perspective, but I'm still probably my old grouchy self about trails. But I'm glad there are those paved ones out there.
I thought it was safer when we walked them across the road.
Yeah, that's it. Doesn't seem that anybody does, though. Bikers are in a hurry, just like everybody else is.
I appreciate your offer of working together, Dave.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things we could do in the county better if we work together, so this is a good partnership, I think, so.
I think
Just
we'll
for
kinda
a little
alter it.
perspective, you know, Green County, the ones they're doing over there, they're spending about 20 to 22,000 a crossing by contracting them out. So, you know, if we can do it in-house with my staff and Dave's staff,
Mhm.
you know, you're looking at 10 to 12,000 in labor costs you're not gonna have. Obviously, you know, our staff time's gonna be taken up doing it, but that way we can still
This
get it
one's
done a little cheaper, I guess.
about twice as long as it would have been, you know, it would have been 50 feet if it would have been a perpendicular or a square
Yeah.
across.
Well, like
20.
you said, it's on a skew, so.
Yeah, so it's actually more than twice as long. It'll be interesting, probably maybe the best place to start is probably the most heavily traveled gravel road from a vehicle standpoint, with the trail crosses.
There's probably a better time to do this after the crops are in, before the crops are ready to come out, probably.
Yeah, we'd be cognizant of that.
Yeah.
Sure, so anyway, yeah, because it'd be under our control.
You somewhat have a third partner in this as well, with the city and the Screed, is that right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
working together, get things done.
You've heard heard the request. Is there a motion to approve that request?
I'll make that motion.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Thank you.
You got 3 minutes yet.
We've got about 5 more minutes here.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Got 3 utility permits. They're all from Windstream Iowa Communications. 2 of the 3 are in direct relationship to a couple of our culvert projects that will be coming up for letting here next week. So it's good to see they're on the bag. So that's the Sawyer one here, and this one down by, what do you call him, Ralph Bach, or R. Bach, and then third one is down here on kind of the level B end of this road down here that takes a curve that they've got a bad line down there that they're replacing. I think they've got a temporary home for that.
It's right off of 71.
It's actually a mile off 71, but yeah, it is, yeah, it's where that Weidel confinement is, and it's.
Oh, I see.
Near ground, I think you were.
Oh, back on the,
Back in there. where
oh,
the
those
curve is.
3/4 way back in that mile?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was some,
Where
yeah.
the water always washes over the road. Where we
Is
could
that
use
where the
one of those-
railroad bridge got fixed there?
South of
Close.
that.
Yeah, it's just within the stone's throw of it.
Yeah, that railroad thing,
Yeah.
that we had them working there. Yeah, I remember being out there.
That one's got a
Okay.
hole in the deck right now.
Oh, no.
I've got one copy of each. These were all emailed, so we're gonna scan them and go back, so.
Oh, we need to sign one, so.
approve one, so that's.
Oh, fix it.
Hand over there, in case you want to look at them. You want to look at them?
I know where they all are.
Gonna get them moved before you start? Well, that's a novel
Well,
idea.
Yeah, it is. Well, the one that they're gonna bore underneath there and go at least 15 feet deep underneath the culvert, so hopefully we don't end up with our curtain wall. I don't think we will, because it's about 4 feet deep.
Let's get it down.
Minutes. Pass this around. This is a bill from the Iowa DOT to do the 2 intersections on 141. Aaron was just talking about them, thought they forgot to bill us, thought we'd deduct it, but it's, when you see that in the bills, when they come through, you'll know what that is. That road south of Dedham, that intersection is on 36, and the intersection that
Oh,
goes.
that was,
South Coon Rapids there, the paved intersection there. This was 2015, we were in that agreement with them.
okay, you've heard the motion on the or is there a motion on utility permits?
I'll make the motion that we approve them.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
okay, it's been moved and second to approve the utility permits. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Good thing you guys approved because I got them signed already.
May.
Okay, Dave.
Less Neil to look at.
Oh, here, this is that bill for you over there.
I think I've got a few extras. Those. What do I got on the back there, Gene? Is that something else?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Oh, yeah, that's our. I'll take that
Database?
back, yeah. That's our standard configuration from Iowa State Industries for what our signs are. We were talking about upgrading the 911 signs, and I asked Iowa State Industries to mock up some various configurations with the long name and to see what they look like and what sort of blank it took to do it. The top one would be what we currently are right now. If we did a Washington Avenue, which we don't have, but if we did that, it'd be 42 inches long. We're using a 10-inch high blank right now with a border on it, 6-inch text, both upper and lower case, and 3-inch on the avenue on the end of it, or the street. And so this is how they kind of look according to scale, and how much real estate they take up. But upper lower case, if you've got the ones like a G or a Y with that tail hanging, it does take up quite a bit of room, so you have to go to a pretty big sign. to accommodate that, we asked him to look at all uppercase then, and it almost looks like an uppercase sign is maybe a bit more economical use of signing material, and metal would be cheaper to buy probably. This is probably about the worst. Kitty Hawk, I think we've got some 9-letter ones, this is a 10-letter one, so this is probably the worst case. We were talking about possibly taking an existing location, getting some signs made for that location, maybe uppercase and lowercase, some different configurations, putting them out there and letting people, the decision makers, have a look at it, see what they think. Somewhere close to town, maybe a couple of places close to town, and see just if, are we gonna get the reflectivity we want, or the increased distance of recognition going down the road.
Do you have any info on the red sign instead of green? Yeah.
No, I think a red might be better.
I've seen it up further north, and they really stick out.
Early.
Yeah, in that
Oh,
early
it
area.
just sticks out like
They really, and,
boom.
you know, there's a lot of GPS on vehicles anymore, and that takes away some of it, but there's still
Yeah, no,
it's that visual confirmation of what you're hearing out of the dash of the car is always a good thing, you know.
I hadn't
Yeah,
even
that's
thought
right.
about that. I think that could be just.
Well, I don't know whether the cost may be way more, and do we want to blend out there for a while? Do you want to, I know those are all questions, good questions, but,
I was looking around on the internet, and I found a recognition table as far as what background and what font, how the recognition is. And this is, the green and white is kind of low down the list, you know.
okay.
Dave, can we table this for a time being? It's after 10, we probably should go with our public hearing. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah.
These guys got other things to do, so.
Maybe you should ask him.
Yeah, how much is it worth?
Evidently
They don't, because they're all here.
No, we want to have you on time, I think.
Yeah.
Apology.
That's a good
That's why I
idea.
wanted to get it done. Okay, it's 10:04, and I will open the public hearing.
What was the engineer's estimate?
Well, kind of cheated from the last one. We had about 130 in the last one, but that's with some of our in-kind, so I'm hoping that it's less than 130.
Okay. Gives you an opportunity to look, see how good they make you look your day.
Courtney, there has not been any comments or anything, has there?
No.
Okay.
Not here.
All right. And there's no oral comments? So then what would you, is the bid letting part of the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
deal.
Dave, I'll turn it over to you then.
Okay, looks like we have 3 bids, Jensen Builders, Roder Construction, and Beatty.
I don't know if that one's any good. You got passed down from me last guy that was here.
That's it. Got the backup.
Well, I'll order them, open them in the order received here. It looks like Roder was the first one. Got really good envelopes. Bid bond with power of attorney. $127,631.00.
127?
127,631. Next one is Jensen. had some use.
Yeah, I think so. We can probably pitch that one, maybe.
You can upgrade it anytime.
Oh, man, that's the only one that's available. I'll give it a try.
You need to grab one the next time you get down to ISAC.
Yeah, I got plenty at home.
We used to have that real dull letter opener that you couldn't, one like that you couldn't hurt yourself with.
My letter opener, I can't even take on an airplane.
Could like that one.
Just like this one?
Looks like a knife.
Yeah.
Looks like a knife.
Yeah, I doubt if they'll let me take this either. Just remember, if someone comes in, Dean, it's in the drawer.
It's too late by then.
Jensen
Good answer.
Builders has a DOT bid bond and a base bid of $167,800. Back years again. Meeting has a bid bond from Merchants. And a bid of $135,200. That's the last of the bids. That Roderick is low with a bid of $127,631.
Do you have to review those yet, or?
I probably should look at the bid bonds maybe a little closer, though there's never any trouble with that.
So do you want us to accept that little bit today?
I think we'd be okay with that,
Okay.
You're gonna review the bids, though.
yes.
So I think have any motion we make is subject to any.
Subject to review.
Subject to reviews.
I'll move to accept the rotor bid, subject to confirmation of the bid bond. Is that correct? For what?
Okay, there's been a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? If not, all those, oh, yes.
Should you close the hearing before you make the motion?
Oh,
Very good
yes.
idea.
Let's back up. I'm gonna close the hearing at 10:09. Okay, now, I'm ready for the motion.
Same motion.
Same motion, same second?
Same second.
Any further discussion?
Thank all the bidders.
Yeah.
Thanks
If
for your
not, all
time.
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary, motion carried. Yes, thank you, guys, appreciate your
Time and effort.
offers.
Yep.
And,
Appreciate the participation in the bidding. Thank you.
back to the 911.
What sign do you like best?
I like the red ones.
Well, it's just a thought, if we're gonna make a turn, should we make a turn?
do
We've
you,
got a
do
little
you ever
bit-
get up there, Dave, up there early? Are you thinking about getting a couple just to see what they look like, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I would say,
And I guess the longevity of the paint and the reflectiveness is the only key. I don't know whether the red's worse or the green's worse. You know, it's probably the quality of the material, the color probably don't have as much to do with it. Good some, but,
but I will agree with you, they show up.
yeah, they really
I
do.
guess I never paid too much attention.
So it's red and with white letters.
Red with white letters. I guess it's usually, you're in the winter where it's brown or white and they
Mhm.
stick out, or in the summertime when it's green, they stick out.
Yeah.
How long have you noticed those up there? I wonder how long
It's
they-
just been, since this fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably,
So they're relatively.
They're,
So
they're
they're pretty
relatively
new?
new, yeah.
yeah. I think I've
Call
seen them,
up, talk to them.
I think I've seen them in southern Iowa, but I can't remember what county. I want to say Keokuk County, but I'm not sure about that.
I just wonder, you know, as the green fades, you know, you don't see too much, but as the red would fade,
You
it
might
would probably wash out a little bit more.
faster.
Yeah.
And that very could be.
You know,
So
that would be
those-
my-
just those
so
are
that I
questions.
think the quality of the paint would be very important,
Yeah.
like Rich said.
We'd be using the best sheeting that you could get, the modern, that's what we do with the new signs, because they just, you know, they used to have engineer grade, and they had high intensity,
Yeah.
now they got DG3, diamond grade 3, and there are several other different sheetings, but they're really bright, they're really reflective in comparison to the
Yeah,
old time.
some of them old DOT signs, so exits and things like that, they've shown their wear, and they're hard to see at night
Yeah.
until, you might see the letters, but the sign itself you don't see until,
And they were probably engineer grade in their day. and-
but they've been there a long time.
Yeah, they've been there a long time.
Did we have a discussion on the size of this per intersection? You know, like, you know, I guess what I'm saying, you know, on your blacktop roads, you know, on the paved
You're saying like
roads.
paved roads,
They would
blacktop
have,
highway?
yeah, where you're moving down, you know, at 55 miles an hour as on a gravel road where you would be going considerably less. You should be approaching those intersections slower anyway, so you would, you know, did we have that discussion at all?
We did, yeah, we briefly talked about putting the larger font signs or the
On the
larger
higher
sign
speed
on
limit,
the higher
and then,
speed limit.
and the lower one go with the smaller sign?
Yeah, talked maybe about the state roads, and then we thought, well, maybe we could throw the county paved roads in there too, you know, there's 60-some miles of state roads and 210 miles of county road pavement, but I think it'd get pretty darn expensive if we use big signs throughout.
Yeah.
Throughout.
And I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
Because once you make the turn onto the road, it's just a confirmation that you're on the same route that you were on.
Mhm.
And when you have these gravel road intersections, I mean, you need to be just going slower there anyway through
Yeah,
those.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is just kind of the beginning, and
Yeah.
I don't even know if we have a say.
Yeah.
A couple things. In my previous job, we did a lot of printing and advertising, and it was pointed out to me that small print are not capital letters. Lowercase letters
Lowercase.
are easier to read than uppercase letters.
Uh-huh.
So what they say is, don't put your words all in uppercase, it'd be easier to read if you put them lowercase.
And I would agree with that.
For what that's worth. So we want it to be easier to read. And then, that's my smaller question, but bigger issue is, what is the cost of this, and the benefit is, I'm really happy with the signs we have now, because I remember we didn't have any.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
what was our reasoning for doing this, is the other ones,
I think the emergency responders can't see the signs, it's, you know, at speed.
It's a
responding.
reflectivity issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree. I think
And
it's
I
coming,
just-
it's coming from.
It's an open
EMA.
question.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
coming from EMA is where it's coming from. But there's also grant money coming from EMA as well. You're aware of that?
Well, wouldn't it be 911, E911?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and we're willing to put them up in our time. This would be great filling work for our sign man, you know, he's excited about doing it. They pay for material.
So there is grant money coming.
Another thing, as far as different sizes, I can see the value of that, but the backside of that is, if one sign goes down and it's on Washington Avenue, they're all the same replacement, you know what I mean? Then you have to stock two different sizes maybe, or
Oh.
170th Street, if they're different
Yeah.
sizes.
Yep.
Another thing, if these get big, like 60 by 11, are the same post gonna hold them up?
That's a good question.
The wind could really put a
Gene
lot
brought
of.
that up the other day, but you know, we've got some pretty massive, no passing zone signs, for instance, on
Okay, it's a question, but you can see when you get out there 60
It's
inches,
gonna be
30
close,
inches
there,
on
I
each
think there's
side.
gonna be some, maybe hawthorn and mahogany, and some of those that may need to.
Well, I think-
Too
I-
close possibly.
I think
So do you
60.
keep spares in hand?
Yes.
Oh, you
yeah.
do? Okay.
We've got a real nice inventory of, we try and keep about 4 signs per name. For 250 is for mahogany, and when they get low, we make an order, and then we have them send the bill to E911. And annually, or whenever we keep track of it, we charge them $50 a sign to put the sign up.
So is this paint in here, get back to that reflectivity, is this paint in here better for that reflectivity than what the old signs are?
Yes, well, yes.
It's a different product.
Yeah, that was high intensity, the old ones are, and now it's diamond grade 3 or several other proprietary names they have, but they kick off a whole lot more lumens reflective wise, and I think they've got a better warranty. But the old ones were high intensity, so they're not as reflective as they once were. I think the color choice, like you were talking about, Rich, Gene,
It's doing
I think that'd be a lot of.
the higher speed at one side and then
Take care of
keeping
that.
the existing greens and things where we have.
Yeah, I don't know if we,
What?
if
I
we
don't
want to
know.
do a bicolor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, the more recognizable sign you have at the higher speed, the easier it is to catch the right intersection. And I think that's very true. But
You know, my perspective, I'm still not a big fan of doing it, but if it's E91, let's decide to use it, and it's their vote and their money, and we're just gonna put them up. I don't have a problem with that. But if it's gonna be county money, I'm gonna have to think this little through before we do it, because the people who live there, they know where they're at, they don't look at them anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of the utility people, the GPS has taken over.
It is
I
taking
even
over.
think the emergency people use GPS more than the signs. So the value of them is
it's there, but
Make
it's
them
not
move.
as important as it used to be.
yeah,
I get
yeah.
that.
And the ones that, you know, I use them sometimes in a different county to find a place, and, yeah, I gotta slow down once in a while, read them, but, don't always wear glasses either, and, it's probably good that I am slowing down those intersections, but, so I'm not a big fan of it, but if they're gonna pay for it and they want us to cooperate,
Mhm.
maybe some uniformity would save you money, or them money on the replacement.
Yeah, I think it needs to just be talked out real good.
Yep.
And tell us what you want to do.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the biggest thing, the communication thing there needs to be, probably when we have this discussion again with the board, maybe we should have Jason here,
Yeah, he,
To talk about that as well.
he was gonna try and make it today, but he couldn't.
Okay.
And so the next time we go, but I'm wondering if maybe I should talk to Jason, and maybe we should try putting up a red sign, and one of these bigger ones next to one of our existing ones to look at.
I know one thing was the discussion at the 911 meeting was that the grant was gonna be paid over a period of years. And that there was some discussion about maybe the county, paying for them, and then as the grants come in, then the county would be
Well, they want us
reimbursed.
to fund it up front, and
Yes.
then we take
Yeah.
all the money.
Yeah. So there's probably gonna be some discussion about that too.
Yeah.
And Jason can address that better, so. I think there's some more discussion needs to be
Oh, I
had
definitely
here
think
on
so,
this.
yeah. Because this will be for 20 years maybe. Was it 94? You on the board when we put the first 911 signs up? Somewhere in that neck of the woods.
In that area.
Yeah.
And do we need to replace every one of them? I guess that's the other thing too.
Maybe just put big ones up by the highways.
Yeah.
And leave the others as they are, but if 911, let them make that decision.
Yeah,
If it was the
sure.
county paying for it, I'd be real hesitant to do almost anything. But if it's their money and that's their priority, and they just want us to help put them up, we'll cooperate, I think.
Yeah.
Those are all really good ideas. Put big red ones on the highway. And get out in Greenland, you're
Yeah.
on gravel land.
Yeah. Once you've made the commitment, you know you're on that road.
Yeah. The rocks
No
don't-
turning around now.
Yeah.
But I'll admit, they stick out.
They do stick out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I can't remember where that was in the rank of,
Yeah.
which one was the best one. I'm wanting to say yellow.
Yep, you get that, but Neil's right, though, you get the bigger the sign you get, then you got stakes, and then you got labor of doing that, it
Yeah, I
all
don't-
adds
Yeah.
up fast.
Some of them, I've seen some with 2 stakes on them somewhere.
Yeah. I do too.
I don't know if we need
You
60.
see them a lot along, like,
60 signs.
these 4-lane roads.
You need a
Like on
60 inch
20
sign
and
when you're
down by
driving, you
141,
probably
so.
shouldn't be driving.
So that's an expense to consider too, just the post.
Would be my guess, but.
Maybe we could do reds on the same font that we're on now and have the same sort of look, you know, with the.
Yeah.
Well, I
This is where
think,
we
you.
are
I think you
now.
could.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worth a discussion.
I mean, I think if you went with the same font you got now, I think the red would make a big difference.
I'll talk to Jason and see what he says, and, you know, maybe Ken Pengry, because he's on the board too, isn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Assume so.
You're on the board?
Mhm.
Any other key players that I'm missing there?
Well, there's Coon Rapids police chief is on that board.
Uh-huh.
You know.
I think they're.
Ask
all-
Jason who he thinks should be contacted. He'd be the one to contact.
Him and I will sit down, maybe with Ken, and kind of decide, and maybe we'll spend a couple $100 and mock up like a mahogany sign or one of the big ones, and maybe do it in red, and try and get something that would give people something to talk about.
Yep. That sounds good.
No sense hurrying into this.
No.
Sure.
We can do that project, and we're trying to run interference for something else we don't want to
There's a
pay
little
attention to.
frost
Yeah.
In fact,
You heard me.
You
You heard me.
Make sure that it'd be nice if they could use the same post, you know,
That's,
just bang.
that's what we intend to do,
Intend
yeah.
to. So if they got too big, that might not be an
Be
option.
able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We might.
Anything else, Dave?
Oh, I think I have some more stuff here. Had a lady, Mrs. Pill, Maple
Oh.
River.
I got a call
about
from-
closing an alley.
Right.
I don't know, there's a big map of it, big map, it's not very eyeglasses, not friendly.
Oh, okay, now I got it.
It's kind of
This-
down there in back of their park.
This would be north, this is in Maple River, this is where the old school is. This is where the bar is at, down here. Okay, Scotty Hendricks.
Yes, I can see that one.
Do
The one
we
that
have
closes
sewer
that
going down
way.
there?
I don't know.
I think, yeah, I think she said there was, because I asked her
Well, then I
that.
think that, I don't think we wanna give up that right away if we have a line back there.
I don't think we want to give up the right of way, but I think what, the whole, and I'll explain it what she, our discussion was, this house right here, this one right here,
Yeah?
Number 16.
this is all basically grass. There's never anybody on this, that part of the boxed-in area. Kids from her house, her grandkids, kids from here will cross through this area. And, you know, I think if you don't want to do anything with it, then I think we need to gravel it, or we need to make it
Making an alley?
an alley. Because it's a grassed area right now, it's not an alley. The problem is that somebody from here last week drove up it and barely
Yeah, well, it's
missed,
just like the back of me right now.
yeah, barely missed one of her grandkids, and that was the concern. So,
Well, that may
you know,
be-
she said that's the only time, as long as they've ever lived there, that has ever happened, that somebody actually drove on it. So,
But don't those houses along there, including themselves, drive up that to get to the backside of the property?
no, I don't think so, because there's nothing back there. Maybe Scott would probably, but I don't even think he has anything back there that he needs to get to.
Is this a block road here that's been laid out that
Right here?
they've abandoned because they're building buildings over the top of it?
Right here, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all grass as well.
That's been abandoned, so that
Yeah.
would just be a short piece that would maybe go up to here to another road?
Well,
maybe?
this part right here, where it comes to an end, I guess what they're proposing is to put a sign or a block to basically block that.
Two posts and a cable across the road.
Yes,
Or
that there's.
period.
Yeah, on probably both ends. To keep.
I
to
would-
keep
I would
it-
just put a couple posts in there if they're gonna do that. I would
Yeah.
not put a cable across somebody wrote down. You know, even if
How
it's
about some of
low.
those zebra boards? that-
Yeah, like a.
Yeah,
Like,
like you have right now that you use.
Yeah, like a road closed, one of those zebra board things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
do you have anything?
I would
there to
suggest
use?
that we talk to the other neighbors too. This may be just one person that wants, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, 'cause I know how this goes.
Well, and I
And
can.
the
I
other
can-
one, the other ones probably wanna get into their backside to get to their property.
Well,
All
now,
alleys are used for that.
They've talked to Scott Heinrichs, and he says, yeah, that something needs to be done there, so
And I think
they don't wanna use that.
everybody in the town owns the park, don't they? They all
Yeah.
in agreement on that.
Here.
Yeah,
My
but-
idea
Looks
of
like
it-
somebody drove there.
It does look like they've been driving kind of out around off the.
Yeah, I don't.
You mean right around here?
Yeah, I don't know why there, it looks like the path's beat off here, been beat down, so it looks like.
Yeah, maybe a cable isn't the answer, but my idea of that is if some type of gate, so people just wouldn't go driving through, but if somebody had to get access, say it was a nice day and they wanted to do a shingling job and get something back there, they could
They
open
could
the
have
gate
access
type
to
thing,
it.
so.
Yeah.
That's why I just mentioned cable, which Gene mentioned the problem with, but some type of gating process
Can you
too.
put those zebra boards offset, so a guy could drive around it, but you
Like
get
our
the,
barricades
you
that
get
we
the
do.
gist that you're not supposed to go through
Yeah,
there,
we
but yeah,
can
you
do
can.
anything
Okay.
that you want with that.
Even the old solvers or something like that.
Um,
So why don't they wanna do the rest of the alley?
The east-west part of.
To the north or to the
north.
south?
To the south is because they
It is
do,
used.
yeah, it is used, because there is a garage right there.
It's gravelled.
Yeah, it's gravelled. This part is gravelled.
Oh, it is gravel
Yeah.
down through here.
Yep. The only, this is the Pill property right here. And this is Scotty Heinrichs. Those are the only two that would be affected by this.
Do we have sewer in there?
Is there a plat someplace of that sewer?
I'd have to get a plan. I'm not sure what's.
I suppose we could reserve.
Manholes?
Well, we're not,
anything
we're
down
not
there?
giving up easement anyway, it's just. about-
No, we're just blocking.
Well, yeah,
But we wanna make sure we don't hit that goddamn.
and then if there's any manholes there, we don't want people driving over unless they're rated for driving
Oh, they're
over.
controlled.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think there's any manholes there.
So if I call her back, that would be, what would say we'd be willing to put a couple of barricades up on the end of the road?
Being they've only been one person in quite a while, I think maybe just throw those up. And if we had something economical that we could put up there.
Yep,
That we
and-
wouldn't have to buy, maybe, you know,
Yeah.
just to kind of make sure the deterrent is there.
Make sure that Scott and Pills are the only affected
That's,
parties, I
Well,
guess.
this isn't even a road here, is it?
No.
So how are they getting there? Are they driving
Well-
on private property to get on?
they're driving down
Oh,
that alley.
they're coming from this, actually, I think this one kind of snuck in through and drove up it from the north, the way it sounded. Is that how you kind of got it, Dave?
Came around Heinrich's building.
Yeah, it came around Heinrich's building and kind of tore up there.
Either that or they came in from the south and then that's the way they exited, was the
Yeah.
Heinrich's
Yeah.
property.
I think it was somebody that probably shouldn't have been on the road anyway.
One person.
Yeah, close it.
He probably could
Yeah,
have,
pick up
or he or
loads.
she probably could have drove anywhere.
I might have to go out
Yeah.
there with Scott, maybe and talk to him.
So I say I'd put these signs in an offset, so one here.
That's what I
One
would
over
do.
here, so you could maneuver through there. But you're not gonna get a big run at it.
Maybe I'll get to go through his woodworking shop.
One few questions.
Yeah.
Is today the bid opening for asphalt?
Yes, it is.
DOT, when are they doing that, this afternoon or?
It's maybe
Right.
listed by now. Yeah,
Okay.
You're on the website,
So-
go look, get on bid expedite.
Okay, that's, okay, I hope that comes in good. A couple things we talked about way back when. One was, we went on tour, looked at 210th Street. a gentleman wanted to do some dirt removal, remember that? Venner?
Yeah.
Did anything come of that?
No.
So that's a done deal when they change their mind?
I think they have. They haven't pursued it any with us.
Okay. And the other one we talked about a long time ago that I never heard from again was Drain 61, Section 6 of Grant Township. It was tin
Tile.
food and swamp repair tile.
That's done.
That's done? So that all got taken care of there? Okay. All right. Tim got that?
Yeah, I think you even paid the bill, it's about a $7,000 bill.
Yeah,
I missed that or didn't relate it. Tim. Okay.
You got direction on this here, or?
Yeah, I think I'll go out and talk to them and see if we can just do with the sign. I'm not sure if we got a sewer. They're gonna know if there's a sewer in there.
Well, I'm thinking, and I might be wrong, but I was thinking there's a line comes down up there from that park and that, up church down there, it comes down behind Scotty's.
Well, it would make sense, yeah.
Be a good spot.
That there would
for
be,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think this should have, putting a sign up, shouldn't make any difference if we have to get at that sewer.
Well,
Somebody has
yeah.
to get at that
As
sewer.
long as we have the right of way, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, the only, you don't go drill down through the damn sewer line.
If we
No.
abandon our right of way, we'd be abandoning our easement rights.
That's right,
Right.
and I don't wanna
We
do
don't wanna do
that.
that.
I just want to put up a sawhorse or a stop sign at the end of the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
something barricade.
Yeah, we can.
Something you got.
Something there. and That sign man's ready and ready to go.
And it could be something that's movable in case somebody does have to get back there.
Sure.
Because my
I
thought
think-
is always,
yeah,
like
you
I
talked
told
about
him.
maybe a gate.
Let's
5
say
barrels.
Bill's wanna go haul a pickup load of sand back to the sandbox, well, then they ain't got no way to get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they can get to about any, I think Bernie can get to about anywhere he wants to go back there through his yard, so.
Well, I mean, you know how people are, that's why I drive my alley.
Like I said, I don't think there's any more than 2 affected people, but.
We're gonna pass this around. I think Brian Best might have been one of the authors of the questioning the counties on how many deficient bridges they had on an annual basis for several years. And anyway, I think we've got 16 deficient bridges yet. You can see what the rest of them have got. We probably got actually 13 because we got rid of 3 here this year, 2016. That's given to the legislature.
Just doing a quick glance, we're a lot better off than most counties.
You
I
got
think
that
so,
right.
Yeah, yeah.
This federal money for state money swap.
Swap.
Will that improve this situation maybe for us? We can maybe get a little quicker.
That'll certainly improve the administrative overhead. You know, that file that I showed you the other day, did I show you that?
Yeah,
You know, that-
yeah.
It's about that tall, and the guy can't make it out to audit it right now because he's got to do a bunch of state projects.
That would bring it from here to here?
Yeah.
Pretty close to it. He showed me one out there. It
And
was
depending on
unbelievable.
What it was, you know, like a little box culvert like that one up on Eagle that we did, that
Mhm.
wasn't BROS, you know, could be about that thick, you know, could have a little copy of the plans, contract, proposal.
Is it changed engineering any? Do you go from a 1,000-year flood to a 500-year flood? Is that
No.
what basically it is, or?
You know, we try and on our main roads, use maybe a 100-year flood on the paved roads, a 50-year flood on a farm-to-market road, and a 25 or less year flood on an on-important gravel road.
Mhm.
And then again, a lot of it depends upon the structure too.
Right.
Sometimes it's worth just upsizing the structure. Just a lot of paperwork.
That would go away.
That would go away. We think that would go away.
And the state has the option, I mean, if they pass that bill, there's no pushback from the feds on that?
No, actually, the money right now, the federal aid money, is given to the state. And the state, out of the goodness of their hearts, is sharing it with the counties. And,
Okay.
of course, there's these caveats that if you get the money, you have to play by our rules. You know, so we've got
The
this
state.
Yeah, we've got this big book, because the feds are making the state play by their rules, and we have to play by the same rules.
Okay.
And hopefully that would end that having to play by a lot of these rules and auditing and whatnot. Don't even know if that's a possibility. Maybe they'll want to keep some of that. I'm not sure why.
So if that were to happen, would you see it? I mean, obviously, it'd take less time but would there be a significant cost savings with that?
Bridges, 119 deficient bridges.
Who's that?
On a statewide basis, it'd be significant. On a countywide basis,
I didn't look at it.
Guess what we might save, maybe save $5,000 a year, or
Pretty
the
rough
time
terrain
we
over
allocate
there,
to
though.
Alderman's got 53.
preparing that extra paperwork.
Yeah.
Depends on the project.
That's another reason.
You could be doing other
Government
things.
could be bad
We
for it.
could be putting up
I'm not running all that mess into you, you know what I mean?
Doing other things.
Doing good things.
Yeah.
So do we now have 13 deficient bridges since you fixed 3 last year?
I think so, yeah. That's kind of a dynamic list, because some come
So,
on.
but none of these deficient bridges are what you call, fit the federal guidelines, are they? Wow. Our Bros bridges?
Yeah,
Because you said we were caught up on them, weren't you?
we're caught up on our funding with that, yeah, we're actually a little bit. in
Oh, I
the
thought you
hole.
said we didn't have as many candidates, running out of candidates.
We don't, yeah, all these are ones that we could expend.
Local money?
Local money or BR money on. The question is, well, say take the Nye Bridge, for instance, you all know where the Ed Nye's Bridge is, the, down south by Roy's.
Street,
Stangle
yeah,
down
north of there.
Yeah, maybe got 5 cars a day on it. Its replacement cost is gonna be $1.25 million. Are we gonna wanna spend federal aid money, $1.25 million, if we can even get it to qualify? It doesn't have enough traffic to qualify now. But there's a few of those bridges left that are gonna stay on the list probably. just
But
because it's
they're
gonna
not,
be-
they're not economical to replace.
Yeah, it's just gonna be real difficult. Do you wanna spend that much money for?
Five or 6 cars.
Yeah. I'm hoping that.
So the way they're gonna get off the list is when we either fall in a hole or take them off,
Yeah,
tear them down. Or close them.
we're closing, yeah. We've got 8 trusses, and I think 2 of the 8 are not FO or SD, functionally obsolete or structurally deficient. And I don't see a whole lot happening with those, at least in the near future. There'd probably be better places to spend the money.
Okay?
Well, I got a pile of stuff here, I think. Yeah.
You know, looking at this, you could probably do an overlay on this as far as the scorecard for the tax rate. And I mean, you got Dickinson County has 7. you
Yeah.
know. So, you know, you can tell where the better counties are. Ringo-
Some of it's that, and some of it is,
How many's Ringgold County?
John.
Terrain
Ringo
too.
County is 103.
yeah.
Terrain
We're
is
pretty
just
fortunate
over
being
there,
in
no
the
people,
Des Moines
no
low,
tax base.
having,
You
where we
just-
have drainage districts, you
handwritten
don't
right
have
on the
huge
wall.
structures.
They just
So
close them.
We might be able to put
It's
in
the best
3
thing to do.
structures for what another county would put in part of 1.
I wonder what, like Monona County, because man, you get in those lost hills, you got quite a, man.
Yeah,
it's a
you know,
big
and
work, some of that.
Plymouth County up there has 125.
That
And
surprised me, that's
surprised-
pretty flat.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, and that's a real agricultural community up there.
But I think
That's real
they have some pretty good sized rivers going through there, though.
47
That could be.
on Monona.
Because he
Yeah.
talks about they got the most bridges in the state.
Who does?
Plymouth.
Yeah.
Plymouth County.
Their drainage districts are probably ditches, probably not tile.
Probably,
Denny, is that
yeah.
Denny Ray?
And that's probably where a lot of
No,
those bridges are generated from.
Yeah, I've been to
Is Denny
Plymouth,
Sioux
but
County?
Not, I couldn't speak about it.
How many bridges do we have total?
210?
Plymouth has 126 on
Don
the list.
Cass.
Jeez.
Dean,
Yeah.
Don Cass.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so that'd be over half our total.
Yeah, there's,
You got a
Ringo
mountain.
County, you know, and I talked, you know, I remember, it was probably 2 years ago at the state supervisors meeting where he just says, well, we just put this close sign on.
Close them.
They just close them. They've got 103 on there that are deficient right now. Ringo County does.
How many was on Monona? Yep.
Monona?
47, wasn't that?
They didn't
many?
have, they were like 40-something.
Yeah.
Right now, we've got a dedicated bridge fund. Of that federal money, the BR money comes in, and a portion of it's dedicated, 33 million in fact, to the counties, which is divvied up to the counties by SD and FO and square foot of deck, bridge deck space percentages. And they wouldn't have had to done that either, because in the last federal aid bill, they didn't require that we would have dedicated bridge money. So there are those that want to keep dedicated bridge money in order to keep building bridges. I particularly don't. I just as soon take that money and, you know, fix a pavement, whether fix something else of higher need. But different counties have different needs and different perceptions.
Mhm,
We're
sure.
not all the same. Somebody like Plymouth County might want to keep that,
Yeah.
make sure that they focus on the bridges and don't get distracted.
Yeah.
I just hope they have a lot of flexibility in it to allow us not to have our hands tied where to use the money.
I bet they have a lot of short bridges, though. They're not very long.
We do, yeah.
I bet they do too, because they're pretty flat.
Well, and, you know, I mean, we're taking bridges and we're putting box culverts in,
Right.
you know, and.
We're about to the end of that, you know, we're coming down
That's
to the
coming
end
of that part of it.
structures that really fit that
Yeah.
kind of drainage. Yeah. We've got
Just
some
get past that
big
dead
bad
bridge.
bridges to do.
Just get past that dead of bridge, we'll know.
One with the choo-choo underneath it.
Yeah, the one with the choo-choo underneath it.
Yeah.
That's a lingering one, isn't it?
It's been lingering as long as I can remember.
Remember, yeah.
I don't know where, they're coming out on the 22nd of March, I think, and to meet with us.
We'll find out whether it lingers or.
That, we could do that bridge, we pay 80% of it, you know, $1.5 million is what the estimate on it is. You want to drop $1.5 million right there?
Car count is minimal.
Yeah, about 60, it's a pretty good car
Oh.
count. Train count's about one.
One a day,
Yeah. But they're-
if that.
They have no interest in going on grade.
No, and unless we take out 2 other crossings. But find me a place to where we want to take out a crossing, because the county's bisected by that thing down there, and most of the crossings are bad anyway. The bridges are narrow, the underpasses are narrow, and they're posted. Farmers not gonna wanna, they're not gonna wanna drive around. I don't know,
Someday.
it's hard to use common sense.
In a non-common sense world.
Yeah. You know, and you're talking about farmers just having to block the intersection, is that what you're saying? Or they don't want to put the at-grade crossing in?
The railroad really doesn't want to put the at-grade crossing in, but if we would close 2 other crossings, they would allow us to put the at-grade crossing in there. They don't want to have a net at-grade crossing gate, they don't want to have one more.
Oh.
Because they,
Close that road then where the railroad crosses, right? Is that what you're saying?
They want to get rid of 2 for 1.
2 for 1, and I don't know where to find the other 2.
yeah,
Some
Yeah.
call that blackmail.
they want to go to Coon Rapids and close that one on the main drag.
Oh, so they want to pick the ones they wanted.
Well, they'd be okay with any of them, but that's kind of, it's a.
They want to close the
2-1
one by Ford.
Yeah, that'd be great. You know.
It was
there's-
closed for years, there never
there's-
was one there. but-
There's a crossing there on.
Really?
On Velvet.
There's never, that crossing right there by Ford,
Yeah.
that didn't show up until they took the underpass out with the old
Yeah.
141.
They had an underpass, though.
Oh, that's right.
That's when
Yeah.
that crossing showed up.
That-
They traded one for,
That crossing, at the underpass, we had to trade on that one to get the bridge over at Manning. we had to close that one and pull it up. And, you know, that one really wasn't,
Yeah,
you know, that didn't bother anybody.
yeah. Yeah, for years and years and years, there never was a crossing.
We need to get in a situation when they absolutely have to have something from us. We need a bargaining
Yeah,
tool.
I do, yeah.
That might take a while.
Yeah.
We put that Dedham one on 2018.
They've been strong arming people for years.
Repair schedule to repair those piers where they're necked down to a couple of re-rod and the concrete spot that. No, they're not. But it's their bridge.
But you know, that's, again, it's throwing common sense out the window.
It is. yeah.
They're gonna be willing to pour money in there not to do anything decent. What the effort and stuff we put in this, we could have had this done a long time ago and at a
Yeah.
very reasonable price.
When the Highway 30 Coalition met, Gene was there with Stuart Anderson in Ames here a while back. You know, he was discussing different things that were happening around the state, projects, and one thing he did mention was on Interstate 80, where they have road crossings. Not exits, but just, if you look, there's just road crossings, county road crossings, gravel road.
Going over the top.
Going over the top. They're not gonna maintain those anymore.
When they're bad, they're just gonna cut it off and you don't
Either,
cross the
either,
interstate.
either the county has to pick it up, if they wanna keep that, they have to maintain it, or it's going away. So, I mean, there are, you know, those things are coming, you know, people wanna pay for less, you know, and I'm sure the DOT doesn't wanna maintain those anymore, but structurally, you know, that's been around a long time. You go on Interstate 35, there aren't any. They dealt with it when they put it away, when they put it in.
Yeah.
You know, only 80 has got
Yeah.
those situations, but yeah, they're not gonna be maintained anymore.
These are interesting days we're coming into.
Anything else, Dave?
I think that's about enough.
Well, next time we have a bid letting, please have your pencil a little sharper. I mean, you're off about
That's pretty-
$3,200.
That's pretty good, Dave. I mean,
Yeah, that's
the
pretty
the
good.
middle, the lower two, you're right between them there, so.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn good.
For a swag.
Let us know Monday or sometime before how those asphalt bids go.
I can email you.
Do
There
that.
you go.
Do that.
That'd be
great.
great.
I gotta get one of them smartphones. I got the county phone. I still got, it's a flip phone. But Paul and Al got smartphones now, and Al, I think, is really making good use of his with the weather radar and that stuff. I haven't found a need yet.
All right.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, I think that concludes our agenda. Any comments from those in attendance? One other thing we need to talk about is tonight's
Other one,
meeting.
Dave?
Yes, the
Yeah.
planning and zoning for
Planning
today.
and zoning.
Yeah,
You-
I'm free,
Or-
so,
Or should we just adjourn and I'll call?
yeah.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion. to
I'll
adjourn.
second that motion.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. Any further discussion? Not right. Not all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Your